accident. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Friday evening. Hope you are doing well. We'll wait for some more people to hop in here, but good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. I think we should pick up where we left off. Hey, Jen Michelle. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, B Quicks. Good evening. Good evening. I think we should pick up where we left off a couple days ago with our initiation live stream. We only got through about half of my notes here, so I think it would be a prudent thing to continue that and finish it out. So a part two on the initiation live stream, so we can get a more complete understanding, a thorough understanding of the role of initiation in a traditional context. And as we were saying a couple days ago, I believe Tuesday, we are only going to be discussing traditional. We are not going to be focused on modern methods of initiation or systems that don't require it. We will be focusing on the traditional systems and the traditional methodology and the importance of traditional initiatic experience. So, hey, Dr. Mama, what's going on? I'm doing well. I hope the same for you. Welcome. So just a little recap before we actually go ahead and dive in. So on Tuesday, we started the stream with discussing exactly what is initiation, right? What does that mean? And exactly what occurs during it and the benefits thereof. What exactly is initiation? And we dove deep into that for about 10 minutes. And then we moved into the necessary points of what makes up valid initiatic experiences. One of the things that we talked about was regularity. Now, tonight we will get into a lot more of the requisites, but on Tuesday we did talk about the need for regularity and the initiatic chain. We discussed the fact that in order for initiation to be valid, it would need to be continuous, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-time ritual and that's it, you're done. It should be continued training because that's when the work actually starts. The great work is getting initiated, however that looks in whatever system you're from. Of course, in Western esotericism, it's mostly looked at as the K&C of one's HGA. And that initiatic experience would then begin the work with your tutelary spirit. And they would introduce you to a bunch of other spirits and you would get your learning from them and continue forward. So there should be some semblance. Well, actually, no. Scratch that. There shouldn't be some semblance. There should be a continuation, right? So we went over that. We went over the difference between higher psychic states and spiritual states, right? And how one way that we can tell how do I want to say this? A modern school. I don't even want to call them that because they're not that. But a modern path, a modern, magical system, spiritual system, whatever. If they promise you things like psychic powers, if you go through our system, you learn our tradition, initiate with us, excuse me, you gain all these psychic powers, we open your mind and we align your chakras and you get all these powers and abilities. You would, or you should know, that is not valid, at least in terms of initiation. Any sort of opening of the mind, any sort of quote unquote psychic abilities and all that, that should come with standard occult, practice. There wouldn't be anything special about that. We all should be able to do those things, right? So if they're claiming that that's the end goal, right? If you initiate with us, if you come through us, you get this, and then you're good. This is not a valid initiatic school. They might have some spiritual truths here and there, but for initiation, this is not a valid school. So we discussed the differences between the psychic states and the higher spiritual states, and then we talked a little bit about self-initiation and how that's pretty much a modern concept. And traditionally, pretty much everyone went through some kind of. I mean, they may not have termed it, an initiation, but they certainly looked at it as a rebirth or a entrance into something that is other, right? Other than what the standard way of living for whatever that culture was. Some of them, would call it being born again. The Christians aren't the first one to come up with that title. There are actual occult groups that call non-occultists. You know how, like in Harry Potter, they call them muggles. Well, there are occult groups that do have terms for people who are not part of any initiatic group, and they call those people once-borns, because you were only born once, and that was in the physical world. But people who were born again, or born twice, or whatever, would be the initiates, the group members, the lodge members, and whatever else. So we discussed how it sort of transformed from its classical form into what we have now in the modern forms. And of course, I made the distinction that modern systems are no less valid because they don't have any initiatic experiences. But it doesn't grant you entrance into any sort of mystery or any sort of otherness. So, and that's where we left off on Tuesday. And so tonight we're going to finish it out here. We're going to talk about the requisites, the requirements one would need, not just for yourself, but also for the group, the lodge, the coven, the order that you're looking at, to get initiated into. And again, this is coming from a Western esoteric position. So these may not be true for the ATRs or the ADRs. These may not be true for like British trad craft or something like that. But for the lodge system, this would definitely be, for lodges and orders and maybe even like groves, this would probably be a good format to keep in your back pocket. And there's also some things in here for you. And then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the secrets of initiation. So before we get into that, let me see what's going on here. James Bond, well, shaken, not stirred. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Bond? Who do you think is going to be the next James Bond? Who do you think is going to be the next? Well, I can't even say the next 007. We have another 007, but we don't have another James Bond. Well, actually, we might. He may have already been picked. They just haven't announced it yet. But that's a rumor. That's a trade rumor, and we don't go with that. But anyway, welcome. I could get hairy Chinese foods. What does that mean? Is the moon making people crazy tonight? I've had so many weird ass interactions today and yesterday. Really interesting. I've not had any At least nothing that sticks out. Really? Huh. I don't know. I've not seen any craziness, but I mean, lunatic comes from, you know, someone who like howls at the moon. So you all need to drop this nonsense and find Jesus. Well, you need to find Jesus. Is that so? Is he lost? Should we should we look for him? Come on. Sorry if I'm off topic. No worries, no worries. Have you had experience using psalms in your hoodoo practice? What do you think of psalm use? Yes, I have, and I don't mind psalm use. I actually find it quite effective. It it would depend on what you're doing, but actually, let me show you. Since you were asking about psalms, I shared it in my Discord, but it was a while ago, so you'd have to scroll way back. So I can just show you on my Google Drive. So I used to run, if you know, or if you've been here for a while, like following me in my live streams, I used to run several different occult forums that still exist today, like Wizard forums and Studio Arcanist and stuff like that. And there was another moderator who, after we both left that forum, we got with Fouchet Nampoint, and we all decided to try to do our own forum, which was evocationworld.net. And she came up, Amaxa, or I guess that's how you pronounce her name, Amxha. So I just always called her Amaxa. Created this document called Angel Powered Psalms that gives us all the psalms that have Shem angels associated with them. So I can show you what that looks like here. Let me make this bigger and then flip. All right, so you can see all angelic powered psalms. I can't really. There we go. Maybe that. There we go. Can I zoom in for you guys? There we go. There we go. Get you some. So you've got, crossover psalms, which are all these right here: Psalms 2, Psalms 3, Psalm 5. And then you've got all the greater key pentacle psalms. These are the psalms for that. If you were doing anything with any of the pentacles, the planetary pentacles from the greater key of Solomon. This is from the veritable key of Solomon, or the veritable clavicle of Solomon. These are all the psalms that would be proper to use in those rites. The Shem psalms, so all the Shem angels that are connected to psalms, these here. And then if you're looking for contact with certain angels, like if you wanted the lunar angels, which are here, it might be good to read. Oh, you can't see it. There we go. Psalm 65 to 72. If you're looking for mercurial angels, which are the archangels, or the Ben Elohim, 57 to 64, so on and so forth. The dominations, 25 to 34, which are Tzek, that's Jupiter. The thrones from Saturn, 17 to 24, so on. And then you've got some more powerful Shem psalms here. Some other powerful Shem. This is a pretty big document, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll scroll through it. But this is, I'm not going to go through every section, but you can see here. I use the Psalms in I refer to this document quite often. So I have it downloaded on my phone, on my Read Era app that I use to read ebooks or PDF copies, because my Google Drive is pretty extensive. But yeah, so you can see, and then like for certain spells, right? So if you needed someone, if you were doing justice, magic, right? You can go to the principalities and Psalm 50, or you can read Daniel and go to Psalms 103:8. So I use Psalms quite often. I hope that answers your question. Do you work with demons? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Currently, Bune and Salos, but that's really about it lately. I focus on my ancestors and the planetary angels. Do you do any other type of divination other than scrying? Yes, I do tarot. I've got a bunch of tarot decks here that I've shown off plenty of times. And I've got my Obi shells up there and my bone set. So, yes. Angel Powered Psalms was by who? It's by a friend of mine, Amaxa. You wouldn't be able to find it online. I mean, unless someone from a forum that we shared it on, uploaded it to like Mega or something. It's not like a public document, or it's not like written by an author and it's out there for sale or something like that. It was created by just a regular person who sought no money. They just practiced and took the time and had the knowledge to create all this and shared it with the other moderators. And so, but if you're part of the Discord, it's in the Discord in the library section. So it's in the library. You'll just have to scroll a little bit, unless like I don't know if like you can search through like if there's like a search feature through Discord and you can search like documents or like I know you can search for people and servers, but I don't know if you can search for like specific posts or documents or whatever. I heard Jesus was an Ophanim. Interesting. Is there some sort of theory behind that? Like why that would be? Can I join as a guest? I'm sorry, Elijah. We are doing a topic tonight. We're not doing any sort of dual hosting or anything. I've got a bunch of notes that I want to get through. I'm just getting through these questions here before we get started. But thank you for asking. I appreciate you wanting to come up. How do I change timelines? I think you might want the New Age Galactic Federation live stream. That's probably a couple swipes up. Can you talk about how you use tarot? Yeah, I use tarot for path working. I use tarot to, help figure out situations that I might be struggling with on my own or talking to friends and family about whatever. I use tarot to sometimes cast spells. I'll use one card to represent a significator, which was normally me, but sometimes it could be someone else, but normally it's me. And then, I have a bunch of rays and targets and things like that. And each card would have its own purpose and would have its own point within the spell to be utilized. I use them to talk to spirits sometimes if I'm not able to, like if I need more than just a yes no. I use Obi for just yes no. But if I need more than just like a yes no, then I'll use tarot if I don't feel like doing a full-blown evocation to contact the spirit, which also doesn't always work. So that's a bit about how I use tarot. Okay, is the link to your Discord in your bio? Kind of. So you would have to, in my bio, there's two links. One of the links is clickable, the other is not. It's the clickable link. That'll take you to my Stan account, or my Stan page. And at the top of the Stan page, there's all the social medias, and just click on the Discord one, and that should take you to the Discord. I understand. Thank you. Not a problem. Thank you. Thank you, Elijah. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. But thank you for understanding. Oh my gosh. Why does this keep moving? All right. Looks like that's the last of the comments and or questions. So let's go ahead and get started with the rest of the initiation live stream. So this should probably finish us out. I doubt we won't get through, this next half tonight. So let's talk about the requisites for initiation. So on Tuesday, we mentioned one of the requisites, and that was Actually, I think we mentioned two. But one of them was the need for regularity, right? Because the work actually starts after the initiation, not, and in many cases it's years, not the years of work that you put in prior. That was to prepare you for initiation, and to prepare you to receive, and not in a in a in a knowledge way, in the sense of like you can learn a language or learn like science or math or something like that, but in a knowledge way, in the way of gnosis, right? Something that you would not have been prepared to receive prior in a spiritual way. You would have rejected it, you wouldn't have understood it, and not only that, the most important thing is you wouldn't have been able to integrate it. You would not have been able to integrate it internally and then have that shown externally. You will know them by their fruits. That's probably one of the most important aspects of initiation, is the fact that you not only understand something, but you can integrate that internally, and then that shows externally, right? So we talked about that Tuesday. We also talked about how it should have a non-human origin, but we're going to dive into that a little bit more tonight. So I guess we can start with that one, right? We can start with one of the requisites is initiation, or a initiatic school, an initiatic group, lodge, whatever, has to have a non-human origin, right? Someone can't just make things up, and which I'm looking at you, New Age. You can't just make things up and expect that that is now an accepted, legitimate anyway, spiritual school. People can accept it if they want, but it doesn't make it any more legitimate than it was when, so and so made it up in their basement. It must have a non-human origin, right? And that non-human origin has to be verifiable, right? It can't be something like, oh, well, the angel spoke to me and only me. He's not going to talk to you. He talked to me. I am the chosen one. I am the prophet. And sorry about your luck. You either follow me or you don't. That doesn't count. One of the most beautiful things about the occult is that you don't have to believe us. You don't have to believe the occultist. You can go and do the work yourself and arrive at a similar, if not the same, result. Religion, at least the vast majority of it, doesn't give you that. You have to trust the preacher or the whatever the leader in that religion is. You have to trust their word, and if you don't trust them, then you're ostracized and anathema to you. But the occult doesn't have any such thing like that. You don't have to believe someone. You can verify by doing the work yourself, or if you'd rather spend the years of just studying, that's fine too. But you can do the work, and you can validate, and you can verify. So there must be a non-human origin for the how do I want to word this? For the initiate experience to be validated, right? This also covers the whole thing about, well, if you have to come in from a group, right? If someone has to initiate you, who initiated the first witch or the first shaman or the first magician or whatever? Well, it has to have a non-human origin. So that would mean the spirits, right? This is why in a lot of ATRs and ADRs, even though you wouldn't think it that way because they're African based, there's a lot of non-Africans in these groups, right? Because it's the spirits that pick you. It's not people that pick you. The Mambo or the Hungan or, the Tata or the Yaya or the Santero or the Polero, they should not. I'm not saying that many of them don't. I'm sure many of them do have racial issues and, don't want, people from outside races part of their group. But it shouldn't be that way. It's the spirits that choose you. It's the spirits that say that this person is worthy to, go through, go through the initiation to join our organization or our group or our cult or whatever. So that would answer that question about who brought in the first witch, who gave them the second birth, who allowed them entrance into the mysteries. It would have been the spirit or the gods or, whatever they would have called them for whatever group we're talking about, right? So, excuse me. The second thing is more on you, right? So the first point was for the group. The second point would be more on you. There must be an intent to be initiated, right? It's not something that you wouldn't know that it's happening, right? There's no spontaneous initiation and then you are just, gallivanting around years and don't know anything, and then all of a sudden someone goes, you were initiated, weren't you? And you go, oh yeah, that's what that was. No, there has to be an intent, and then there is a physical process that, yes, causes spiritual change, right, and spiritual effects, but there's a physical process that one must go through intentionally, right? You can't be forced into it. You can't be tricked into it. You can't be coerced into it. It must be consensual, right? And now we can as above, so below this, right? I'm going to make a quick parallel to grimoire tradition. And sorry for those who may not understand Grimtrad, you may not understand what I'm saying, but this is a great parallel. If we as above, so below it, we can see in Pseudo-Agrippa, of course we know, was probably written by Jacques Ohori, but Pseudo-Agrippa's fourth book of occult philosophy, right, where he talks about the Liber Spiritum and how when you want to create a legitimate, valid grimoire, if you will, which is why we have so many grimoires within Grimtrad, you are to call the spirits with a method that was mentioned prior in the book. And when the spirits arrive, you have to get their consensual permission without coercion, without threat, without trickery, without the methods found in the Goetia or anything like that where you threaten and coerce and beat the spirit into submission. The spirits must agree. They must agree to put their name in the book and put their sigil there, and they must agree that when these methods are used, that they will come, right? This can be seen as a lesser mystery initiation in grimoire tradition, right? So like first degree type stuff. And it parallels perfectly with human initiation, because you can't be coerced, you can't be tricked, you have to willingly know, or you have to consciously know what you're doing and willingly go forward and do it, right? There can't be any sort of trickery, can't be any sort of deceit, can't be any sort of forcefulness, and also there can't be any ego associated with it. That's another thing that it does to you, is it kind of removes it. I won't call it an ego death, right? But it kind of puts it in check, right? And that's both on you and on the person bringing you in, right? The ego is kind of left at the door. So, excuse me. All right. So those were the first two. And the third thing is, how do I want to say this? You have to, so earlier when I was talking about the work starts after you get initiated, right? A lot of people want to know, well, what about the 5 years that I spent before initiation? What about that? Does that not count for anything? It does count for something. It doesn't count for what you probably think it counts for, but it does count for something. And what it counts for is preparing you for what comes after the initiation. So step 3, or number 3, is the group has to qualify you. Unless they know you and they trained you from, you being a neophyte up to whatever, unless they were the ones that did that, and then even then, they would probably still qualify you. They have to make sure that you are prepared, right? This isn't something like you can just, walk down to your local OTO and go, hey, I want to be initiated. I want to know the mysteries of Babylon, or, whoever the god or goddess or whatever is of Thelema. I want to, know the mysteries of Ra Hor Kuit or whatever. It's, they're not going to be like, oh, okay, sure. Just pay the little fee and, come back on Saturday and we'll pencil you in. It's not going to be like that. You need to have a period of study and a period of practice and integration, and they need to evaluate you and make sure that that's been done right, because they can't put you through a spiritual sort of a transformational process like initiation and expect for you to come out on the other side. This is why you hear, or you may have heard, of stories of spiritual psychosis of people who go into the occult, because they may have found that one group in their area that will accept a bribe, right? That will say, listen, if I give you 5 grand, will you initiate me? And the person who runs that lodge is a human being. They have bills. They may have medical issues. They may have debt, whatever. And sometimes that kind of money can be enticing. And then the person ends up going through some sort of spiritual psychosis because they weren't ready. They read a couple of Crowley books. They read a couple of, Israel Regardie books, and they might be able to speak some of the lingo, but they're not ready in a spiritual sense for that kind of thing. But they pay their way in, or they smooth talk their way in, or whatever, blackmail their way in, whatever. They somehow find their way in, and they go through the ritual, and next thing you know, they lose their mind. Their life starts falling apart, and they don't understand why. Well, you just took on a massive amount of spiritual energies that you have no idea how to integrate into your life, and it's effing it all up, right? This is why if you were to go through a text like Seven Spheres by Rufus Opus, that's an initiation, right? Each sphere is an initiation. You can't get through the whatever sphere you're in, or sorry, I'll say it this way: you can't get to the next sphere without passing through the current sphere, and the only way to pass through it is to initiate. And to initiate is to not only be accepted by the spirits, but to understand what they taught you, and to take whatever sphere you're in, take those energies on, integrate them into your spiritual bodies, and then that needs to flow out into your physical life, right? If you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to move on to the next level. Why? Because you just took on a massive amount of energy from whatever sphere or planet you just went through. You need to integrate that. Imagine Jupiter and Mars spiritually, those energies clashing inside of you. That's going to F everything all up. Say goodbye to your spiritual bodies jacked up. And you don't want that, because then that's when psychosis comes into being. And then you hear all these stories that the conspiracy theorists love to latch on to and love to make videos about, to scare you into staying on the straight and narrow. I say go the crooked path, but that's neither here nor there. So you must be qualified, right? They qualify you by, hopefully they were the ones that gave you the training, but if not, they would test you with however they do it. Could be, actual magical tests. It could be, verbal, written. They could try to trick you and see if you, know the tricks and all this other stuff. That's up to the group that you're trying to get into. But so that was number 3. So let me, before we move on, see if there's any questions or comments or anything like that. All right, I already read all these. I read that. Okay, here we go. I just decided that my night's going to be drinking and watching this. Well, I hope you enjoy your drink, and I hope you enjoy this. And I hope you're drinking something good. Do you think the subconscious mind is where the magic happens? Thanks. Yes. And I think you asked that during the last stream. Yes, I do. What are your thoughts on fallen angel souls? What do you mean by fallen angel souls? Humans are the only things that have souls. That's what connects us back to God. Animals and any other type of being would have a spirit, but a soul is something entirely different. So from my perspective, I would say that angels don't have souls, including fallen angels. But maybe you mean something else, Lady Macbeth. May you please say the name of that document in this Discord again? Yeah, it's Angel Powered Psalms. I doubt there's many psalm books in the Discord, so you can just, if you can search, I would just search Psalms. I don't think that's being talked about at length, where you have to sift through, hundreds of pages or files. It just might be like maybe a dozen, and it'll be good. I've been studying on and off for 20 years. Well, welcome. Glad to have you. Skrillex reference. What do you mean by that? Mate Yerba? So like Yerba mate? Isn't that like an energy, like this thing that's in like natural energy drinks? Initiates don't make you good though. Why are people telling people that you have to be initiated? So it depends on the group that you're going into. Many modern day systems like chaos, systems and UPG systems don't require it. But the traditional systems certainly do, and closed systems like many of the ATRs and ADRs do. And by your name, if you're a Tata, you should know that. People shouldn't be just stumbling into voodoo and just, trying to contact, the Loa, or they shouldn't be, trying to go into Santeria and contacting the Orishas without, licencia, without knowing what they're doing. But if that's what you're instructing people to do, I'd say that's irresponsible, but, you're your own person. You do as you will. Sorry, I missed the first two steps. Can someone type them in the chat? Well, I don't know if they'd be able to type in like all of it. But essentially, the first two is it must have a non-human origin. So it must come from a non. So a human can't just make it up. It has to be from a non-human origin, and there has to be an intent to initiate. So a non-human origin and an intent to initiate. Second grade secret test in school. Do you do root work or Solomonic traditional magic? I kind of do both. What's a good first occult spiritual reading material? I have 5 videos with books recommended for beginners. Between all 5 videos, there's about 23 book recommendations with descriptions and all that. So I would, on my page here, check out my Getting Started playlist. Hey, Counselor Mystic. What's up, Witch and Bougie? What's up? Thank you. Been studying for about 8 years now. Well, welcome. Welcome, Big Juan. Welcome, Big Juan. It's sad how much information and shenanigans are spread on this app, especially by white people. Yes, there's a lot of misinformation spread. I'm not going to, bring race into it, but yes, there's definitely a lot of misinformation by anybody. There's a lot of people out here spreading nonsense. Delacroix. Not sure what you're saying there, B Quicks. I would say let's keep the random outburst to a minimum. What's the difference between occult, esoteric, and mystic? Good question. So these are not going to be like the definitions that you'd find in like some encyclopedia about occultism, like, I don't know, the Magic and Alchemy Encyclopedia or the Occult and Parapsychology Encyclopedia or anything like that. But these are, I think these definitions most occultists, at least here in the West, would agree with, would be good working definitions. So I would define occultism as the practical application of esoteric and mystical knowledge. So basically the actual doing of magic would be occultism. Yes, of course, it means hidden, and technically it's talking about the hidden spiritual systems and all that other stuff. But in a working sense and as a working definition, I would say it is the practical application, the doing of magic, the actual getting your hands dirty, drawing out circles on the ground, using a wood burning tool and burning sigils into the wood, and, going out into the woods and gathering your own, branches and graveyard dirt and all that other stuff, the actual doing of magic. Esotericism would be the underlying mechanics of that practical application. So, okay, I'm casting these spells, I'm getting graveyard dirt. Why? What does this graveyard dirt do? For what purpose does this serve? Am I able to substitute this graveyard dirt with something else? If so, why? If not, why? The underlying mechanics, what's going on behind the scenes, that's esotericism, right? Now, mysticism can be looked at as a combination of those things, but I set it aside and say that mysticism is pretty much just strictly getting into contact with, technically it's the divine, but that can be a very ambiguous thing. So I say spirits, right? So talking to spirits, using your esotericism or your knowledge of that and occultism to talk to God or angels or demons or elementals or whatever. That's what I would say the mystic does. And there's a lot of contemplation from the mystic, which is different than meditation, right? Contemplation would be like if you just read something, right? And it's profound or whatever, and like you close the book and you just sit there and you think about what you just read and you compare what you just read to what you already believe and see how it matches up and why or why not, right? That would be contemplation. And I would say that would be part of mysticism as well. So that's how I would define occultism, esotericism, and mysticism. That would be my working definition. So all right. Looks like there's still about 20 questions. So before we get to that, I'd like to continue here. Also, I'm never going to get back to tonight's lesson. So let's go ahead and continue. We still have a couple. We got what? We went through three. We have one, two, three more. We have three more. And then we have to go through the secrets of initiation. And again, we're talking about Western traditional. We're not talking about like ATR, ADR, not talking about Eastern or, witchcraft or anything like that. Well, British traditional witchcraft. They're, Americanized witches might, find some recognition here. But anyway, so what was that? Oh, I got to plug in my phone. Hold on. All right. We don't want her to die. There we go. There we are. All right. So we just went over the intent, and then we went over that you need to be qualified, and that comes through the first few years of studying either the occult on your own with a mentor or with that group that is going to be giving you the initiation. Number 4 is about the organization. So about the group. It must have some kind of spiritual influence to pass on, right? So on Tuesday, when we were discussing what is initiation, right? Among the many things that it is, one of the things is that it is the transference. So, and you as the person being initiated, you are receiving spiritual influence. So there must be something. It's not just knowledge. It's not just, oh, I get to learn new things, right? Because that's what a lot of these modern schools tend to make you think, that, when you're on their websites, they tell you, oh, you're going to learn all of these cool, interesting, not a lot of people know things. And that's great, but there's scientists out there that know things that a lot of people don't know. There are archaeologists out there that know things that a lot of people know. That doesn't give you any special anything in the spiritual realm. It's what you can do with that information. And as I've said many times this evening, it's if you can integrate it into your spiritual bodies, and then that should flow outward, right? Again, you will know them by their fruits. So there must be an actual spiritual influence to pass on. This is why it can't be made up, right? If someone makes it up, there's nothing to pass. They just pulled it out of their butt, right? Or they took a bunch of spiritual things from different spiritual paths and religions and occult groups and all that, and put it in a pot, stirred it up, and called it, a system. And we can't stop them from doing that, but it doesn't make it a valid initiatic school or path or a system or anything like that. There must be some actual spiritual influence to transfer. So, for example, when you go into most lodges, right, or most covens, right, The spiritual influence is the mysteries from either those deities plural, that deity singular. It may not even be a deity. It might be like a lesser spirit that they're dedicated to, a planetary spirit, or a, I don't know, some kind of elemental, or whatever. You would be receiving that spiritual influence to do whatever it is that that deity or that group of deities or whatever supposedly rules over and governs. So without that, without some kind of actual transference of authority, of power, of influence, the initiation is not valid. It's not about just knowing things. It's not about, I have this secret knowledge that only 200 of the people in the world have. That's great, but that doesn't make you any more spiritually adept than anyone else, right? So there must be some authority there that is passed on, some kind of spiritual authority that is passed on. Oh, excuse me. So that's number 4. Number 5. So number 5 kind of touches on number 3. So I don't even really want to, there's not much more to say about that. Yeah, I kind of expanded a bit deeply on number 3, so we kind of already touched on number 5. So we'll just skip number 5. Not much more to add to that. And we will go with, we'll go right on to number 6. So number 6 kind of touches on what we were saying earlier at the beginning of the stream, and also on Tuesday when we were talking about some of the preliminary requisites, where we were talking about how there must be a initiatic chain, or there must be a system of regularity, right? And as I've already said, the work starts after the initiation. The initiation is not the end goal. It is the beginning, right? That's when the journey starts. That's why you're being born again. You're not born again and then you fully know everything. You have to learn, right? So the learning starts at being born. Whereas the period before that, which is essentially what number 5 was saying, but we kind of already touched on this in number 3, that can kind of be seen as like a gestation period, right? The development period, the period where from egg to fetus, before it gets born, there is a period where it's developing within the womb. That can be a good equivalent to your first few years learning within that group or on your own or whatever. But once you get to the initiation and you get through it, there needs to be, I don't want to call it curriculum because that makes it sound very lodgy, right? That makes it sound very Freemasonic, and it's not that. And in most occult systems, after you get through, the initiation, the physical instruction becomes a lot less, and it becomes more spiritual instruction, right? So you learn directly from the spirits, rather than a high priest or high priestess or whatever the leaders of the group that you're part of calls themselves. So there must be some kind of continuing education, right? Being initiated is not the end goal. There's a lot more to learn. There's a lot more to do. That's only the beginning. The great work starts right then. Before then, you're only striving to begin the great work. So you're working to start, which is a very interesting paradox. But nevertheless, that is the way forward, right? That's the only way to progress in any kind of traditional, system of initiation. Modern systems, since they're modern and are generally, I hate to say it, but are made up. But that doesn't mean they're invalid, because they could, be valid off the principles of chaosophy. But since they're made up, whoever made them up can pretty much say whatever they want for, their system of initiation. But traditionally, it wouldn't have been valid. So, all right. Before we continue, let's see here. Sorry, I have to go. I have to watch YouTube upload. Okay, Dr. Mama. Thank you for being here. You probably already left, but thank you for being here and have a good evening. I follow the Pantheon and I know Hera's been trying to contact me, but I feel blocked. So you follow so you're talking about the Greek Pantheon? What I would do is if you feel as though she's trying to contact you, but you feel blocked, I would do a reading and see if there is any blocks on you. See if, someone has done something to you, or see if you blocked yourself, right? Or just see if just the lines of communication have been muddied. And if the reading does say any of those things in the affirmative, it should also hint at some of the ways that you can undo that. Or, I mean, I think you said that you've been doing this for almost 20 years. You probably have the knowledge on how to undo any kind of negative energy sent your way, or anything like that. If it is the lines of communication, if there's nothing wrong in the sense of someone's done something to you, or you've blocked yourself, it's just the lines of communication are muddied. I would begin venerating Hera. I don't know anything about the Greek pantheon, so I couldn't even begin to tell you what that would look like. But you can start to look up correspondences for Hera, and start venerating her, giving her the offering she likes, the type of food or wine or incense or oils or whatever that she might enjoy on whatever day is honorable or special to her according to the cult that she had back thousands of years ago, whatever. Yeah, that's what I would do. Good evening, my man. Hey, Jeff James, what's up? Welcome. My 34th anniversary today. Well, happy anniversary, Dr. Mama. I'm so you probably already left. I'm so sorry. I was giving the lesson, but happy anniversary. So I'm guessing you mean your wedding anniversary. So congratulations, or congrats on whatever kind of anniversary you're celebrating. But I'm gonna assume wedding anniversary, and that's something to be admired. I hope I can be married for 34 years. Spoots, Apple Music, Deezer, S.com. I don't know what that means, so. Does an Anubis pseudo-initiatic chaos magic inspired by LSD sound like it tracks in a good way? Not even a little bit. But go with it. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard was able to start a whole thing and beat the IRS. Now the church that shall not be named has billions of dollars. Can probably rival most Christian denominations. Obviously not the Catholic Church or anything like that. But I mean, I'm sure that Hollywood church that L. Ron Hubbard started can rival like the Jehovah's Witness or something crazy like that when it comes to financial power. So if he can do it, so can you. Can I call you Professor Mystic? It fits your vibe, if that's what you like to call me. B Quicks is in the live. Yeah, I muted them. Might be a fake or second account. I don't know. They were spamming the Discord, so I kicked them from the Discord. And someone with a bit of technical knowledge, way more than what I have, said that it's probably like a data crawler. They said that they looked into their something and found that it was like a South American data crawler bot or something. So I'm in the woods right now, in my yard. Wow, you live in the woods? That's awesome. Like you have a house in the woods. That's cool. I wish I had a house in the woods. I mean, maybe not like I wish I had a house on like the edge of a not a lake. I need flowing water because I don't want mosquitoes and stuff. So, like a river or something. Just around the river bend. Just around the river bend. Just kidding. Going back to my childhood right now. Favorite piece of esoteric literature? Three books of occult philosophy. Eric Purdue edition, of course. Of course. But I mean, that's cheating. I mean, so, okay. The Black Dragon. Well, technically it's the Cross Keys, but the Black Dragon. 18th century grimoire. Cross Keys, but the Black Dragon. My favorite. Loaded question, but do you keep a portion of your personality after ascending through the spheres? Yeah. All that remains intact. All that remains intact. You'll have a new outlook, right? You'll see things differently, but you'll still be you. You don't lose your personality until you pass. Unless you want to change your personality, actively change who you are. But no, you don't have to worry about that. Do you think a new but valid system will emerge, or what we have is it forever? In what way? You mean like a new occult system? Yeah, they spring up every day. I don't think grimoire tradition or voodoo or anything like that is going anywhere. I mean, it hasn't gone anywhere, and it's been hundreds of years, and in some cases a few thousand. But yeah, I think new things will come along, and people will like them, and they'll have a nice following. But I still think there will be people like myself and like the numerous other you know magicians, I guess, out there, Western esotericists who like the classical stuff and prefer the way you know the Renaissance magi did, or the medieval magi, or whatever. Good night. Can't wait to watch the upload. Yes, it will be uploaded. Don't worry. Don't worry. Number four is the only reason I'm joining a coven. Number four. So the organization must have a spiritual influence to pass on. Nice. Are you able to talk about that influence or no? I understand if you're not. But I am curious. Curiouser and curiouser. All right, let me get through these last couple, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start on the final piece here, the secrets of initiation. And they're not the kind of secret that you're thinking. It's not like oh my God, he just gave out. Oh my God, call the Council of Witches. He just gave out all the secrets. Call the Witch Copyright Office. It's not anything like that. But it's not widely known. No one talks about this. Like no Llewellyn book, no wiser book talks about these things. So I believe angels and demons were people before they died. What's your opinion on that? Well, I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. There's I mean, I'm sure it exists in some mythology, but within the mythology that we use in Western esotericism, which is it's a mix of different things. Most of it is Mediterranean, but Judeo-Christian by far and large. But there's other things in there as well. There's a lot of Iranian mythology in there. There's a lot of Hellenic mythos in there, but that's not here nor there. In those systems, there's not many people who became gods, who became angels or demons. I don't know of any that became a demon. Again, that's not to say that there isn't any, but I don't know of any humans that became demons. But I do know of like Enoch, who some say, he since he didn't die, he was taken up, that he became Metatron. And a good book on that is John C. Portier's Enoch Metatron tradition. That's really good, good elucidation on that. But no, I don't. I don't think that. I think angels and demons, well, angels at least, were created specifically for specific purposes. Hey, Aziel, what's up? What is going on? Hope you're having a happy Friday. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Give Aziel a round of applause. Welcome. She's here. She's here. I like to eat apples and bananas. Well, that's wonderful. I don't really like bananas, but that's okay. That's okay that you do, because we all have our own likes and dislikes, right? You know what? Get ready for the infomercial, okay? Are you someone who likes to eat apples and bananas? No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. What do you mean by integrated spirituality? I'm not sure. What do you mean by integrated spirituality? I don't know. Is that up there on the thing? I don't see that. I know I mentioned integrating, the things that you receive during initiation into your spiritual bodies, and that should, spread out into your physical life. Is that what you mean? But I don't know about integrated spirituality. Do you know any spells against demons? Because I don't feel comfortable with them in my craft. Well, you don't have to work with demons. You can just work with angels and planetary spirits and the elementals and the aerial spirits and your ancestors. You don't have to work with demons. I rarely work with demons. It's not a requirement. So unless you feel like you're getting attacked by a demon or something like that, or someone sent a demon, you don't really need any spells against them. You should be fine if you don't work with them. Hey, Corporate Hermeticist, what's up? Buna Diminata? Hold on. I sound like an American with no culture. Hold on. Buna Dimignana. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Comment dit en anglais? Je ne sais pas. You're welcome. You're welcome, Azio. You have a soundboard? I do. I do have a soundboard, and it's magic. It's very elusive at this point. Still trying to figure it out. Okay, no worries. You can, you should be able to just ask them, though. But, it's fine. You don't have to do anything. Demons ain't going to bother you. No, they're not. No, they are not. Have you gone into the initiation details yet? I've always been so curious. Yeah, we already went over pretty much all of it. The only thing we have now is the secrets. The bottom part here. The secrets. Well, it's backwards, the mirror effect, but the secrets of initiation. We already went through, on Tuesday, we went through the first page here. We went through the first page here. And then tonight we did the rest. We did all this down here. And then we're about to start on the bottom part here. I just don't work with demons. They're not my cup of tea. That's fine. There's no requirement to work with them at all. You are free to work with whatever spirit you would like. Demons or not. Yo, pretend I said something nice to warrant a Glenn thank you. A Glenn thank you? What's that? What's a Glenn thank you? Glenn from The Walking Dead? Glenn Close? Glenn's the man going to work. Got his tie, got him big. Who's Glenn? Glenn. I don't know. What's a Glenn thank you? Oh, the thank you on your soundboard sounded like Glenn from Superstore. Is it? It said animated thank you. You mean this one?
Thank you very much.
It said that when I got it from the Stream Deck soundboard store, it was like it was just like animated. It was like it said male animated thank you. So I don't watch Superstore, but I think that's a live action show, right? So I mean, maybe somebody sounds like that on the show. I don't know. I don't watch it, but that sounds like it's a cartoon, like some Futurama or Bob's Burger or something like that. That sounds just like Glenn. Really? Maybe it is Glenn. I don't know. I don't watch Superstore. It sounds animated though. It does sound like a cartoon, but maybe it is Glenn. I don't know. Glenn from Superstore, huh? I don't know. I've never seen Superstore. Is it on Netflix or is it on Hulu? I don't know. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sammy Morelli. I'm sorry. I like that last name, Morelli. He has a very distinctive voice. Well, yeah, if that's his voice, that's very distinctive. That's very distinctive. How to break a blockage hex. Well, I would suggest doing a reading first to ensure that you are hexed. And then if you are hexed, the reading should let you know what to do. But occasionally, usually it would be stuff like a cleansing bath or like a cleansing head wash or something like that, something to get rid of the negative energies. And then there would be a ritual or something like that to invoke positive energies. And then you should probably do something to protect yourself going forward, like shielding and warding and stuff like that. So same actor, maybe. Perhaps. Perhaps. Sid. Come on. I did confirm. She told me to do a bath. Well, there you go. See? There you go. If you know the answer, why are you asking? I think people just like to test me sometimes. It's okay, though. It's okay. Thank you. How to do protection work? Well, there's plenty of rituals or spells or anything that you can do for protection work. The preliminary rite of protection from the Book of Abraxas is one that I like doing a lot. What's that? It's a solar protection rite, but I forgot the name of it. I can just look. Let me see. There's a solar protection rite as well that I like. I just forget what it's called. Oh, wow. The rite of solar protection. Well, here. That doesn't help you at all. There we are. The rite of solar protection is the one that I like. And then the other one the first one I mentioned, the preliminary rite of protection. And this is in the Book of Abraxas, as you can see. So I like those a lot. We were talking about the Psalms earlier. You can do there's plenty of Psalms that are available for protection. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was showing, and it's still up right now. The document. Actually, here I can just let me Control F protection and see what we got. All right, here let me bring. I'm sorry, you're got to see my face, but I need to make it bigger so when I turn the camera, you see. All right. Hold on, because my phone's plugged in now, so I have to. All right. So I did Control F for protection. So here's one, the sixth pentacle of Jupiter, and you want to use Psalm 22:17. So if you can if you can Google the sixth pentacle of Jupiter, print that out, and read Psalm 22:17. I would do maybe some sort of a veneration ritual for Ariel. You can see Ariel is the angel there, seraphim, and then Tharsis. Let's see, there's 9, so we can look at another one here. Here's another one here, the fourth pentacle of the moon. You can get these from the Key of Solomon, the Greater Key of Solomon, just so you're aware. Psalm 35, 4 and 8 and 26. And protection from all sources of evil. It's also to call forth and invoke spirits of the moon, and for protection of injury for both body, soul, and spirit, and for knowledge of the angel Sophiel to gain knowledge of all herbs, and stones. Let's go to number 3 for you. Oh, it was that one right there, the protection from body injury. Number 4, the 6 Pentacles of Mars, Man of Medim. I wonder where he got that name, huh? But anyway, we'll be talking to him on Sunday. But anyway, for all-encompassing protection, the 6th Pentacle of Mars, Psalm 37:15. The 2nd Pentacle of the Moon, Psalm 56:11. But this is generally, I guess, only for water, for all perils pertaining to water. So maybe that one might not help you so much. That's okay. You still have Psalm 119:108, powers number 44. Yelahia, that's the angel. She's of the order, or they are of the order of powers. Psalm 119:108 is a good one to use to reach out to them. Magical word to use, Shaddai, which is one of the sacred names of God. And then 7, you can use the 3rd Pentacle of Jupiter, protection from all manner of spirits, if someone sent a spirit after you. And that's just a title, and that's just a title. All right, so those were the 7, really, because the last 2 are just these. So those were the 7 that could help you out. I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you. Whoops. There we are. This is well, thank you. Thank you very much. But this is not my work. I cannot take credit for this at all. This is the lovely work of, the lovely, Amaxa. A young lady, well, she's not so young anymore, but I don't mean that in a bad way, but she was young. We were young when we first started to run the 2 forums together with a bunch of other occultists who've gone on to do other things. But yeah, Amaxa wrote that when we were running Wizard Forums and the occultworld.net. And she shared it with us. And this is an amazing resource. It's 26 pages of nothing but just angel-powered psalms. Just psalms and all their angelic correspondences and their Shem correspondences. It's fantastic. I use this a few times a month. It's a crazy resource. All right. Couple more here. What was that document? This is Angel Powered Psalms. It is available in my Discord. This is not like a public thing. This was made by a friend of mine. Has anybody heard of rensep.org? It's a research organization for witches and scholars. I've not heard of that. Wait, have I heard of that? I don't think I've heard of that. This better be a real... Listen, I don't want to go to this website. Hold on. I don't want to go to this website and it's something crazy. So let me go to Google first and type in Rensep in Google. I don't want to... Okay, sorry. Not that I didn't trust you, but, people come on here and say things, and the next thing you know, I got weird things on my computer. So, interesting. The Research Network for the Study of Esoteric Practices. And they have a version en français. Ah. Je suis intéressant. Interesting. Babylonian astrology. That's cool. Funding. Yeah, who's funding this? Who's behind this? Who's the shadowy government behind this? Wow. Dean Radin. I've heard a lot of people talk about him. Huh. I wonder if like Texas has a nice sized esoteric community. There's a lot of occult scholars that were educated in Texas. And there's one on here. Professor Jeffrey Kripal, who is the Newton Razor Chair in Philosophy and Religious Thought at Rice University in Houston, Texas. I probably read at least six academic texts by other scholars that were educated in Texas. So I wonder if there's like a esoteric community out there. Very interesting. I will do more research on this. I will keep these guys up, and I'll look into this further. Thank you for sharing this, Luna. Thank you for sharing. One last question. I was told who it was, but is it possible to know, see who has hexed you? Yes, you can know. Yes. Such great info. You're welcome. Oh, wow, so cool. Thanks for showing us. Not a problem. Not a problem. I look forward to seeing you there someday. Well, thank you very much. South Carolina. Okay, that makes sense because South Carolina, they just got, not that long ago, they got an esoteric, I think it was South Carolina. I'm quite confident it was South Carolina. There's a university out there that recently offered a degree in some kind of esoteric study. I forget exactly what it's called, some kind of occult esoteric study. And I'm confident it was the University of South Carolina, or not that, but the school is in that state. I don't know what the school is, but probably because they have Southern Baptist trauma. Oh wow, how do you know? How do I know what specifically? What are you asking? I don't want to know. I don't want to know who has hexed me. I would love to know. So that way, I can watch justice get served. He's part of the group. Oh, really? Okay. All right. How do you feel about hexing? I have no problems with it. I don't have any problem with black magic or people doing black magic. I'm a hermeticist, so I believe that we are created just like the Christians in the image of God. But we go a little further than that esoterically, right? We go as far as saying, well, if we are made in the image of God, that means we are little g gods. We're not God. And we're not gods in the sense of like Luciferianism or Satanism or something like that. But we are made in his image, right? And so God has a will, and his will be done. Fine. His will is over all of creation, but he gave us this domain, and he has man, meaning humans, not men, man as in humans, to rule over this domain. And if that is the case, and we're created in his image and he has a will, then we have a will. And if his will be done over his creation, this is our domain. So our will be done over our domain. And if that will is to curse and hex people, then so be it. Just be prepared to deal with any sort of consequences that come with that, right? For every action, there's an equal yet opposite reaction. So you should be prepared to deal with whatever comes with you going around hexing and cursing people. So you're free to do it. Just be prepared for what comes with it. What are some ways to find that you've been hexed? Readings. That's the only way that I do it. Just do a reading. I mean, there are signs that you could look for in your life, of course. But like consistent bad luck. Not you slip and fall once, or you stub your toe once, or get a car accident once. But if it's like a continuous thing, and it seems to like happen out of nowhere and things like that. Nightmares, having unaliving thoughts if you don't generally think like that and you're not like depressed or anything like that. There's signs and symptoms, but the best way, so that way you don't let your mind run rampant, is to do a reading. So you need that laugh on your soundboard. That laugh. What? This one? That is on my soundboard. Which one? Or was there another one that I did or something? So does your personality have to develop to a point of you being worthy of transcending the spheres? No, going through the spheres, it's not going to change your personality, but it will change your outlook, which I guess in a way could have effects on your personality, as we kind of talked about earlier. But no, there's no personality change. But what will happen is when you integrate those energies into your life, if there is anything that does need to be changed, that will be in a way forced upon you, which is why you should probably be ready. But thank you. You're welcome. Do you do readings? I do offer readings on my Stan account. All signs happen to me. Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds, I think you said earlier that you had already gotten a reading and things like that done. So, but yeah, it just sounds like you just wanted like a second opinion or, validation or something, which is always good. So, but it sounds like the practitioner that you went to gave you some good advice. If they told you to do like a cleansing bath, probably a head wash. Did they tell you to pour it over your head? Like not like you get into the bath. I mean, okay, you might have to get in the bathtub, but like you're not taking a bath. Normally, you just pour it over your head. But anyway, is one of the signs being possessed in your sleep? I mean, nightmares. But okay. I'm sorry. You're saying if you're sleeping and you dream, I guess, and you're possessed in your dream. Do you? I mean, I would still call that a nightmare. But yeah, I mean that could be. But we don't want to just go with that. You could have watched a scary movie earlier in the day or earlier in the week, or something like that, and you had a nightmare about being possessed. So we don't just want to jump. Oh, I had a nightmare about being possessed, so therefore I'm cursed. That's why I always advocate readings. You want to get readings done. Can all hexes be broken? I would like to think so. Yeah, I've not come across anything in real life. Of course, you always hear stories and things, but I've not come across anything in real life that couldn't be broken. It might be hard to break, like generational curses, real generational curses, not these woke people out here talking about we're breaking generational curses, and no, you're not. But I'm not trying to be rude. Real generation, those are hard to break, but they're not like impossible or anything like that. I've not come across anything that was like impossible to break. So she gave no good directions. I actually sat in it. Hopefully that wasn't bad. Well, no, it's not bad, but yeah, normally you would. I don't know how she told you to do the wash, but the way I was taught, whatever herbs she told you to, or they told you to use, gather. You gather them, you boil them, you strain it and all that other stuff. And then you put it back into, the water, let it cool down. And then once it's not too cold, but also not like scalding hot, you would then either go outside if you have a yard or whatever, or if you don't, go into your bathtub where you're, standalone shower and pour it over your head. And they may give you a psalm to read. They may give you an invocation to recite or something along those lines. There might be some visualizations associated with that to, assist in making the neuropathological connections to help make that energy move, and all that good stuff. But generally, that's how it would look. I'm not familiar with any ritual bath where you actually take a bath. I mean, okay, that's a lie. There are modern day rituals where you draw your bath and you put your essential oils in and you put your roses in and you say a spell and you get in and all that. Okay, but traditionally baths were head washes. So salt, garlic, parsley, and lime. Interesting. Okay. Did you look up any of those herbs? I would look those up and see if those would help with getting rid of negative energies. Salt is cleansing, of course. Garlic keeps things at bay, but I don't. I mean, I'm not an herbal master, but I don't believe garlic is good at taking negativity that's already there and getting rid of it. I would look up some of those herbs and things and see, you know. I don't remember my dreams. I think in my lizard brain, I think I'm in my lizard brain too much during the day. How do you feel about getting readings and so many people tapping into your energy? Well, no one taps into my energy. I'm the one giving the reading, so I tap into their energy. So I don't have a problem with it. But also, I don't do this as a job. So it's not like I'm doing dozens of readings a day or anything like that. I have a regular full-time job that pays me pretty well. So I don't this is not my career or anything like that. Thanks, man. You're giving us hope. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. I mean, generational cycles of abuse is what they're trying to say, I think. Maybe. And if that's the case, then that's great. But when they're talking about curses, I'm like, do you know what you're saying? Or are you just trying to, maybe they are just trying to use buzzwords. But I can't believe you're giving all this info for free. Don't worry. Don't worry. My audience has already beat me into getting a Patreon, so that'll be coming. Hopefully that'll be ready like around Halloween. So be on the lookout for the Patreon where it won't be so free anymore. So I've been doing this for 13 years for free. And, I get on TikTok and people are like, you should be charging for this. And I'm like, but it's free. I'm giving it to you free. And they're like, no, we want to pay you. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. So, yep, I always visualize white energy coming from my shower when I'm taking one. That's awesome. And it works. Baths before rituals. Yes, there is nothing wrong with purity. Good to know about the pouring over the head thing. Yes, yes. You don't have to fully immerse yourself. It's not a baptism or anything. What percentage of the population would you guess are genuinely occultists? Oh, no, very minimal. Not a lot at all. Out of 8 billion people, I mean, 10 million might sound like a lot, but that's 0.02% like that. Not a lot. It's a lot if you just say the number, right? It could be 25 million, right? That sounds like a lot. 25 million people, if you put them in a group and you were to look through your binoculars from a mountain or whatever, that'd be a lot of people. But compared to 8 billion people, not so much a lot anymore. I think it's a lot. It's a lot, but compared to the population, minimal. I think less than 1%. So if we're at 8 billion roughly, that would be 80 million would be 1%, right? So I think 25 to 30 million is probably a good number. And that sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. All right, all right, guys. Cause I've been trying to get to these secrets for like 45 minutes. So I'm gonna stop right there, and I'll pick back the questions back up after we get through the secrets of initiation. Okay, so just a bit of a recap. Tonight, so far, we went over the requisites for initiation, and we stated that they must have a non-human origin, right? So and so Joe Blow can't make this up and just say, the spirits, or I talked to the aliens, or God told me, or whatever. And you just have to believe me. You can't contact God. You can't talk to the aliens. They don't like you. They like me. And no, can't have that. It has to come from a non-human origin, and that non-human origin has to be contactable, and this has to be verifiable. The second thing was that there has to be an intent on your end to be initiated. You can't be coerced, can't be tricked, can't be forced. You can't stumble in upon it. You're just walking through the woods and you stumble and, you have some experience where you're now initiated. No. You probably walked into a field of marijuana or something and you tripped out, because that's not how it happens. The third thing is that for the group that you are looking to get involved with, they have to sort of evaluate you. They have to, and this kind of goes in with number 5. So technically there are 6, but we're only going to go over 5 because the 5th one and the 3rd one kind of go hand in hand. But they have to kind of evaluate you, put you through like a trial period, develop you, right? This is the gestation period, which could take years. But this is the gestation period that they use to develop you, to prepare your spiritual, your psychic, your ethereal or etheric, your astral, whatever you want to call it, bodies, to accept this information, accept this knowledge, to receive this influence, and as I've been saying all night, to integrate it into your spiritual bodies, and then have that show out into your physical life. Number 4 is the spiritual influence. The group must have a spiritual influence to pass on. It's not just about knowledge. It's not just about learning the secret Masonic hand signs and the it's not about just learning things. Oh, you know the symbol of the of the Eye of Horus and all. Okay, great. Anybody can learn that stuff. It's not about that. There's a transference of power. There's a transference of authority, a transference of spiritual influence that must be, or that must occur in order for a legitimate initiation to take place. Otherwise, what are you gaining entrance into, right? If there's nothing being transferred, what are you being reborn into? What are you gaining entrance into? If there's no transference there, it's just a social club. That's all. It's just a group of people who, for lack of a better word, are LARPing for initiation. There might be some spiritual activity going on. There might be some spiritual truths being taught. But for initiation, for an initiatic experience, they're LARPing. And you find this in a lot of modern day schools. I'm not going to name anybody because I don't want to offend anybody. But there's a lot of modern schools that have this issue. So that's number 4. Number 5, we're going to kind of skip because that goes hand in hand with number 3. The trial period, the development period, all that. And then number 6 is that the initiation is ongoing, right? Or at least the learning, not so much the ritual itself, but the after effects is ongoing. As I've been saying all night, that's where it starts. The great work starts with initiation. Successful, accurate, valid. It starts there. That's not the goal. That is the beginning. And from there, the work starts. That's where the real learning starts. Through the development period, that's great that you went through that. But that's not where the end goal is. There's more to learn after that. And depending on who you come in through, that learning could be continued learning under like a physical teacher. You could learn from the spirits directly, which is the most common thing, or there could be a mix of both, which you find in a lot of lodge style groups like the Rosicrucians and what's the Dragon Rouge? Dragon Rouge, and all that good stuff. So that's a bit of a recap. So now we're going to move into the secrets of initiation. So the first secret is that in its essence, the initiatic experience is inexpressible. It's incommunicable, right? This is why I have a hard time even describing it, even in these lessons, right? There's a lot of pauses when I'm talking about it because I'm trying to find the words to bring it out of the esoteric, out of the highfalutin, high and mighty, hoity-toity, hold your nose up to it, esotericness, and bring it down, right? But that's very hard for, if you haven't gone through that kind of experience. It's hard to bring it down out of it. Understanding doesn't come strictly from knowledge and studying, right? It comes from experience. And this experience leads to what I've been saying all night, integration. Being able to take that transference and integrate it into your spiritual bodies and then have that show out into your physical life. That is the hallmark, right? That is you will know them by their fruits, right? So it's inexpressible, it's incommunicable, and it's not something that you can get just by reading books, right? Just by watching videos, just by listening to someone like me. You have to experience it. You have to go through it, right? And it's something that is done over the course of time, built up through step 3 and step 5, going through that gestation period, going through that trial, going through that development period, right? Getting yourself acclimated to receiving these spiritual energies, and understanding them and being able to work alongside of them and manipulate them, right? This is the integration aspect. Being able to work alongside these energies, but also manipulate these energies, because your will be done, right? If we are made in the image of God, he has a will, then we have a will. If his will be done, then on a smaller level, our will be done as well. We don't have any influence over all of creation, but we have an influence on our world. And so our will can be imposed on this world, and so our will be done. So, where did I leave off here? Does not come solely from ritual practices. Okay. Now, when you go through, how do I want to word this? So, okay. When you go through the physical aspects of initiation, right? You go through the actual ritual. What the ritual does, right? What the incense smell does, and what the symbols that are on the wall and on your garments and on this, on the materia magica, and the barbarous words that you're saying, the nomina magica that you're saying, right? All of these things are happening in tandem to activate something in your mind and in your soul. This is the, for lack of a better word, psychodrama, right? This psychodrama allows for an activation of something that's been there, but has been lying dormant, has been asleep, right? And it's the awakening of these spiritual faculties that allow you to accept these spiritual transference, the authority, the power, quote unquote. I don't want anybody to think you're going to get powers, but the power, the authority that is transferred to you from your initiating witch or high priest or high priestess or the spirit, right? There's a sort of transference, and that transference awakens certain spiritual faculties, and those spiritual faculties are what allow you to accept the transference, and hopefully you'll be ready to integrate and assimilate and manipulate. Those are the goals. You integrate it first, and then you can work alongside of it, or you can, which is the assimilation, or you can manipulate it to your own purpose. So what that all boils down to is the axiom that a lot of people use in our modern day occult world is pearls before swine, right? Shouldn't be talking about this stuff. This is only for, intermediate level practitioners, higher minded people. You shouldn't be telling this on TikTok publicly so anybody can join the live stream and anybody can hear it and anybody can learn it. And I don't agree with that. In this sort of context, there are things out there that, I would agree with that with. But in a spiritual context, I don't. And the reason that I don't is because of what I just spent the last 7 minutes talking about. And that is, initiation in its essence is incommunicable. It's inexpressible. I could talk about it all day. And if someone who doesn't know anything about the occult, doesn't know anything about magic, doesn't know anything about esotericism, mysticism, hears it, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. So even though I, in a way, casted a pearl before a swine, it doesn't matter, because they're not going to understand it. They don't know what I'm talking about. So I didn't betray anything, right? Yeah, sure, I said it, but they don't know what I'm talking about. So it's sort of like, okay, so on Wednesday nights, I go live with Alchemic Mason, and we do a Hermetic live stream where we read from the various holy books found within Hermeticism. Traditionally, this is the corpus and its surrounding texts. We already read through the whole corpus. We're now reading through Hermetica 2. And on Wednesday, I believe it was Stobaean fragment 12. if I recall correctly, where we were talking about this sort of a thing, where I I forget. Hold on, I forget the exact reference. Let me look because I don't want to misrepresent the exact reference here. Hey, okay. Wow, I opened it right to the, and it was the band fragment 11. Okay, so it was when we were talking about secrecy. When we were talking about secrecy, in Stobane Fragment 11 on Wednesday, Hermes had made the mention of a group of Pythagoreans. And these Pythagoreans would talk to each other in coded language. They would talk to each other in symbols, right? And so to anybody who was nearby, and yes, they would speak in symbols, not like they would write, they would speak in symbols. So anybody who was nearby hearing this would think these are two drunk, probably homeless men rambling on at each other saying nothing, when in actuality they were giving knowledge to each other. They were discussing gnosis, but the people around them, because to them it sounded like nonsense, they had no idea. So they were in public discussing esoteric, mystical, I won't say occult, but I will say esoteric and mystical concepts. And this quote unquote swine had no idea what they were listening to, had no idea what they were hearing. But going by the logic of pearls before swine, that shouldn't have been happening. But why? Right? If they don't understand, why? So it's sort of impossible to give away the real secrets of the occult, including initiation, the lesser mysteries, the greater mysteries, because most people don't know what that means, right? Like earlier, I had said that, the great work begins with initiation. And in the West, or in Western esotericism, that great work, or that process, begins with K&C of one's HGA, right? 90% of people, if not more, probably like 99% of people have no idea what that means. Even if I were to say, oh, K&C with your HGA just means knowledge and conversation with your holy guardian angel. Most people are like, wait, what, bro? What did you just say to me? Like, they don't know. Even if I go just repeat back what I said and think about each word means exactly what you think it means. You don't know what it means? No, they don't. Knowledge and conversation, what do you think that means? You know, and you converse with your holy guardian angel. You don't know what they don't know. So it's virtually impossible to give away the mysteries or the secrets of the occult and esotericism and occultism. And that in itself is the secret. It's impossible to give away the secrets because the people don't know. In general, right? There are people who do know, and in that case, you're not giving anything away because they already know. So you're talking to someone who's in the who's in the know, not a once born, as some groups would call them. So that's the secret of initiation. It is incommunicable. It is inexpressible. Understanding of what you went through does not come from knowledge, and study alone. That is a requirement. That's part of the development period. But it's not from knowledge and study alone, but experience. And that experience is through initiatic ritual. Why? Because those rituals activate, again, those smells, those symbols, those names, those words, the tools themselves, the color scheme, all of it together is this giant psychodrama that activates something in one's subconscious. What that something specifically is, I'm not going to pretend to know. But it activates something in your subconscious that allows acceptance of a transference of power, a transference of spiritual authority, of spiritual influence, or else you'd go nuts, you'd go crazy. It allows for that, and then it allows for the integration of that, the assimilation of that, and the manipulation of that. And this should show in one's real life, in one's 3D. So that is the initiation live stream. Hold applause. No, please, please hold applause. You don't have to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, that was the initiation live stream, broken up into two parts. We did the first part on Tuesday, and tonight was part two. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. And let's see what's going on here in the chat. We just want to support you for your work. Well, yes, I appreciate that, and the Patreon is coming. I'm done. I'm done fighting. I'm done fighting, you guys. You guys want the Patreon. You want to support. I accept. So be on the lookout. Probably like Halloween. Halloween is when I plan on making everything live and allowing you guys to enroll or sign up or whatever you do, and get the educational, getting the instructional and informational, and in some cases just pure entertaining content. So I appreciate the free help and info. Dang. Well, Amy, it's coming to an end. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm still going to be doing TikToks and things like that, but I might not be giving away so much info for free. Did you know Friday the 13th superstitions actually has origins in the Templar Knights? I did not know that. I was not aware of that. That's very interesting. It was something that happened to them on that day. Yeah, I was not aware of that. It never feels right unless I'm feeling baptized inside out. It's actually not technically a New Age belief like you said. I never said anything about Friday the 13th. Not sure where you're getting that, but okay. Friday the 13th is not New Age, but I didn't say it was New Age, but that is excellent to know. I'm a shaman. I can cast a spell for you. What are you wanting? $1 million. Give me a milli. I've been in here just doing Amazon shopping and listening. Well, I hope you're getting some good stuff. Hope you're getting some good stuff. Opinion on triggering a spiritual awakening by someone trying to take your energy without consent. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? So can you describe, I know there's not a lot of character space. Yeah, would you be able to elaborate a bit more because there's a lot going on in my head for that. So I would like to narrow it down to a specific thing before I give an answer. Yeah, that's a main concern for me. Number 4, honesty and integrity. Yes, exactly. I'd go to Etsy, but I'm on pinch time. All the other pressed flowers are from small businesses, though. Oh, you need pressed flowers? For like I don't know. What would you need press flowers for? Are you like designing something? Like, is that going to go on like a piece of clothing or something? I'm probably asking stupid questions. I don't know what you would use a press flower for. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm making another video for the finished results. Okay, so this is an art thing. Oh, you're doing a painting. Okay, you're doing a painting. A painting. You paint, huh? Can you paint me on a throne, like wearing regal clothing? I also want to wear the Pope's hat. So that really cool hat that the Pope wears, I want that. And that cool scepter that the Pope has, paint me with that. I want to be holding that scepter. And I need 2 white tigers on either side of me, with a subject kneeling as he presents to me the papal ring that people are going to kiss when they come to meet me. Can you paint that? I'll pay whatever your commission fee is. I'll pay whatever your commission fee is. No need for pressed flowers for me. You could you could just, I don't know. You can I don't know. I'm not an artist. Shipped from LMFAO. Like the group, shots, 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 shots. Everybody. La 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 la. Do you guys remember that? Remember 2014? Like, do you guys remember that? Did you pay money for your initiation? No. This was a witchcraft coven. I actually don't know of it. I mean, maybe for like supplies and stuff like that, but no, I didn't have to. I did not have to pay. But then again, I went through those years of development. I had those development years. The coven that I got initiated into was the same coven that trained me. So they spent 3.5, almost 4 years training me before I was ready for initiation. So for those of you trying to rush it, it took me almost 4 years. So yeah, it shows your ranking. It shows my ranking, like in a game. What do you mean? You deserve to be paid for things you've worked hard to know yourself. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Issa. Thank you. None of it is new age. All of this has been done before. So, what exactly are you referring to? Because I rarely mention the new age in this entire live stream. I think I mentioned it, like, other than reading it from you guys, I think I mentioned it twice. And so, what exactly are you referring to? Because when I refer to the new age, the things I'm referring to are new age. The practices that they do are not stuff that is old and has been done before. They are taking old practices that have been done before and they water them down to virtually unrecognizability. And they try to pass it off as the original thing that's been done for, hundreds, if not thousands of years. But it is something wholly and completely different. For example, the way that these New Agers try to channel, the Galactic Federation and aliens and all that, I challenge you to find me any culture in history that agrees that in order to channel, all you have to do is just open your heart space and say, aliens, I want to talk to you, and boom, all the aliens are just being channeled through you instantly. You're you're some conduit for the cosmos and also nonsense. Who said that? What tablet? What ancient tablet should I read? What ancient Ugaritic text should I read? What ancient Phoenician text or Gallic text or anything like that should I read that would agree with any of that? That's a very modern thing. In contrast, every culture that I'm aware of that utilized any sort of quote unquote channeling, there was always ritual to get in touch with these beings, right? It wasn't just a instant, they come on to the live stream and go, hi guys, I'm going to channel your ancestors today. And then boom, they're instantly channeled. No, there was buildup, right? There was offerings, usually days, if not weeks in advance. This wasn't something that you could just call everybody to the town square and just do like a magic trick. There were weeks, usually days, but days or weeks of preparation, venerating this deity, calling on this deity, maybe fasting, purifying yourself, going to the top of Mount Kulabadudu and doing the ritual day. There was all kinds of preparation. It was never just this instantaneous thing like you see these New Agers do today. So when I reference the New Age, the things that I'm talking about are new. They are not anything ancient and old. They may come from something ancient and old, but what is presented these days by Dolores Cannon, Zachariah Sitchin, and Billy Carson, and Jay Campbell, and Galacticus, and all this other nonsense, none of these techniques, as they're presented by these individuals, were practiced in ancient times. Again, they may have been derived from something that comes from ancient times, but it does not resemble it at all, right? Just like a car is derived from the wheelbarrow, right? Eventually, people stopped wanting to push the wheelbarrow, and so then they got horses, or well, probably like donkeys first, and they graduated to horses. Then those horses stopped carrying barrels; they started carrying carriages, and then they got. Eventually, we now have cars and planes, and but the car does not resemble the wheelbarrow at all, right? It's a wholly different thing. It may have come from that, but it's a whole different thing. Same concept. Mormons are initiated at the temple. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not familiar with the Mormon faith. I mean, I obviously know what they are, but I don't know anything about what they believe or any of their rituals. So that's very interesting. They call me estrogen the way my racks keep growing. Well, I also find that interesting. I can ask later, maybe. I regret asking after I asked just because of the character space. Feel free to put it in the Discord, Sid. Feel free to put it in the Discord. And I may not be able to get to it tonight. It's after midnight, so I'm probably going to finish the movie that I was watching before I decided to go live. And then I'm probably going to go to sleep. I painted Venus de Milo or de Milo. I wanted to add pressed flowers. Sorry for distracting the convo. No, not a problem at all. Like one of your French girls. Well, don't paint me like a French girl. Paint me like a royal pope. The Borgia Pope. Take the Borgia Pope. Take Rodrigo Borgia, and just put my face on it. How about that? How about that? Take a picture of, or not a picture. Take a portrait of I don't know, one of the Medici's, and put my face on it. How about that? What what is initiation, and what well, that's what the entire live stream was about. Unfortunately, you had missed it, and I don't really feel it's prudent to go back over the entire thing again. But this will be uploaded to my YouTube, and I urge you to check it out there. But just quickly, I will say it is a secondary birth. It is an entrance into a new spiritual way of living, and of seeing the world, and of receiving spiritual influence through transference. So, no, you need a tie. I went to a lot of high school parties blaring that shots, 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 shots. Yeah, I was in the club. I was a few years out of high school when that song came out. Me and my friends were in the club. I can be Jack and you can be my Rose. Uh oh. Uh oh. I don't. It might get a little not safe for work in here. How do you know that you got the right mentor for initiation? Well, the only way to really know is to question them, right? To ask questions. The part about asking questions sucks because most of the questions that you would ask to see if they're valid, you'd probably already have to be initiated. I guess in terms of initiation, if that's what you're seeking, if you're seeking initiation, I would just say make sure that they're from a valid initiatic system or school or religion or cult or whatever. Not some modern new age Dolores Cannon, Zachariah Sitchin, believe everything that the aliens tell you nonsense. And to ensure that there's actual spiritual authority there, there's some sort of spiritual influence that is being transferred, and ensure that there is a continuity of, or what is known as the initiatic chain, right? There's some sort of regularity, some continued education after the ritual is completed. So, is self initiation valid? It is valid. It's not valid in a traditional sense, but for magic in general, yes, it is valid. Also, that's not a word, not being initiated. I was going to say non non-initiation, but I don't. I mean, I guess you can put non in front of anything, right? I guess so. I guess that is a word. But anyway, not being initiated is also valid for modern systems. You don't have to go through that to practice magic in general. So, because in Africa we believe that our ancestors tell us where to go for initiation. Well, go with that. Can you fail in initiation? Yes, but probably not in the way that you're. It's okay in the lodge system. Yes, it's quite easy to fail in the lodge system because there's a lot of written and like a lot of Q&A. But in like more coven oriented, more witchcraft, more folk magic oriented systems, not really. You can be rejected, but not. I mean, and I guess you can consider that a failure. But like, there's no like wrong answer. Like, nope, you got an F. You didn't answer, 90% of the questions correctly. So, and no, it's that's more of a lodge thing. How do you know what you're doing is safe and beneficial for you? That depends on the system that you're working. Well, for the safety, as long as there's something to keep you from negative influences getting in, you can consider it safe, or you can learn your own protection measures to make sure that what you're doing is safe if you don't feel as though that there are any within the system that you're working. But beneficial, that's up to you. You should be able to review the system and or the practice and see if it is going to benefit you or not. See if it's going, if there are any physical results, is it going to help you or is it going to hurt you? If it's spiritual results, same thing. Is it going to help you or is it going to hurt you? Does it take you further than where you already are, or not? And if the answer is no, that's not always a bad thing. There's plenty of things that I do just for knowledge's sake. I don't, want to integrate it into my practice, or I don't want to, do anything specific with it. I'm just interested in learning more about that thing. And so it doesn't do anything for my practice. It's just for knowledge's sake, in case someone asks a question about that thing. So, all right. Once we get through these guys, I'm going to probably call it for the evening. What should I study, occultism or esotericism? What are you interested in? Are you interested in doing the thing, or are you interested in just understanding the thing? If you're interested in doing the thing, I would say study occultism. If you are interested in just understanding the thing, I would say esotericism. What occult path do you incorporate and study? I practice grimoire tradition, I practice hoodoo, I practice neo-shamanism, and I practice the elderwood tradition of witchcraft. Those are my main systems. I technically practice several things, but those are the ones that I work with on a regular basis. Joseph Smith died with a Solomonic talisman in his pocket. Yes, there's a lot of rumor that he had some esoteric knowledge and used that to create Mormonism, but I don't know much about Mormonism in a practical sense, so I can't validate that either way. The way I knew you were going to say Medici, well, I mean, they were around during the same time as the Borgias, right? And everyone knows that the Borgias are my favorite Pope family, even though they were utterly evil, utterly corrupt. God, they were great. They were just great. And we wouldn't have Da Vinci, yeah, we wouldn't have Da Vinci if it wasn't for the Borgia Pope. He was the one that, asked him to paint, the chapel or whatever. And they were the ones that brought art back to Italy. They restored all the bath. I mean, now of course, if you're a super Christian, you might say, "Oh, well, those are pagan things." They brought paganism back to Rome, but they restored the bathhouses, which you could argue the Pope did for the women of the night because we know he liked to frequent the women. I mean, he had Valletta, I think her name was Valletta or Veneta or something like that. The mother of his children. She wasn't a proper woman. She was a woman of the night. And so there's rumor that he did, the bathhouse thing to get more access to women of the night. But I don't know. He had I don't know. It's weird. Do you know which sigil it was engraved with? Not off the top of my head. I do. Oh, you're talking to Real. Sorry about that. Ducadon. Ducadon. Wait, how old are you? How old do you think I am, Sid? How old do you think I am? I'm a vampire, Sid. I am the... Je suis le vampire Lestat. I am the vampire Lestat. It just rolled off my tongue. Are you going to kill us? No. I'm going to give you everything you could ever desire. Sorry, that was a line from Queen of the Damned. Quick summary, what is transference? Just transferring. Literally taking it from me and giving it to you. Or someone taking it from themselves and giving it to someone else. Trump is a cult. All right. What do you know about Aleister Crowley? Did you read his autobiography? I know a bit about Crowley. I don't think I read his biography, no. I'm not really a fan of Crowley or Thelema or the OTO or anything like that. History is amazing, I get it. It is amazing. It's very amazing. 30. Close. You're close. You aren't sparkly enough. Not that kind of vampire. The Queen of the Damned, the best kind of vampires. The Queen of the Damned, Interview with a Vampire type vampires. Which, if you haven't seen the updated TV show, the AMC Plus, I think, show, Interview with a Vampire, it's really, really good. It's a bit different than the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas, Kirsten Dunst. That was that little girl's name. I forgot the little girl's name, but it was Kirsten Dunst. It's a little different than that, but it's really, really good. I think he's 33. You are correct, Issa. 33. J'ai 33 ans. Hey, bro, what's up, Manuel? Well, I know now why I've been keeping rose petals. There you are. What's up, brother? Hope you're good. Love the movie Queen of the Damned. Me too. It is probably one of the greatest, it wasn't a B movie, but for some reason it went down in history as a culty type of a B movie. But it wasn't a B movie. It had a nice sized budget for early 2000. It had a regular budget for early 2000. That wasn't a tentpole. Well, actually, okay, no. Interview with a Vampire would have been the tentpole if there was ever going to be if this was going to be a franchise. That would have been the tentpole. I don't consider it a B movie, but a lot of people do. But it's a fantastic film. I love it. Stuart Townsend is just great. And he was born to he encompassed that role of stats so well. It literally some people might kill me for this, but I think if you go back and you really watch Queen of the Damned and you really study Stuart Townsend and his performance, I would put it up there with, some people are going to kill me for it, I'd put it up there with Heath Ledger in The Joker. In the Joker, as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Stuart Townsend, and I don't know what happened. He did that movie, and then he did The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which also wasn't that great of a box office. The movie was okay, but the box office wasn't that great. And then he just disappeared. He broke up with Charlize Theron and didn't really do much. He did a little stuff, a little bit here and there, but damn, he was a good actor. Or he is, because he's still alive, so he is a good actor. Who were you a fan of from the 1800s? I can pick anybody? I guessed right. Can I have my gold star down? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm giving it to you right now. Here you go. Gold star. There you go. I have no video. I can't see you. You can't see me. I'm right here. I'm right here, and I'm always going to be here. Just kidding. That's totally crazy. I can pick anybody. Hmm. 18th century. Who who wrote the second book? Elizabeth something Elizabeth something. The second book of the book of four occult or four book the book of four occult philosophers, book number two. I like that. I like that author. Jacques Gahori is pretty cool. Wait, he's not 18th century, is he? No, he's not. Sorry, scratch that. Um, I am a big fan of the author of the Black Dragon, French grimoire. Actually, two French grimoires from the 18th century. I'm a fan of their authors. I just can't think of their name. The Black Dragon and the Grimoire to Conjure the Spirit of a Place, which we analyzed a couple weeks ago. I just can't think of their names. But yeah, the sound effect. Crystalline DNA can be activated with telomeres. I'm not sure what that is, but thank you. You feel left out. No, Sid. You are here. Do you want to start too? Here you go. There you go. There you go. We all get stars. You know what, guys? Why don't we just come on? We all get. We're all. We're all winners here, guys. We all get stars. You're a star. Crowley said it best, right? We're all stars. We're all stars. Shine bright like a diamond. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. That's right. Put it on your chart. Who are three people you can coin as being the top teachers of occult esoteric practices? Agrippa, Trithemius, and number three. I mean there's a lot. That would be a tie. Number three is like either Eliphas Levi or Israel Regardi or Mathers. I prefer Mathers a million times over Crowley. Giordano Bruno. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll do Trithemius, I'll do Agrippa, and I'll do Bruno. Let's do that. And well, okay, if I do Bruno slash Ficino, however you say his name, I don't, Ficino, that guy. Yay, Sid got a star. We all get stars. We're all stars. Is Rosicrucianism worth looking into? I can't say. I'm not super familiar with them. Every man and woman is a star. How did you get started, or how do you get started with Hermeticism? I have a playlist that you can read or that you can watch for that, but you can start with the Corpus. Go back to the beginning of it all, the Corpus Hermeticum, the Dialogues of Hermes Trismegistus. Now you don't need to get this edition. This is kind of expensive. This is like $50, but you can go on Amazon and it's and get like any edition for like $20. And then you probably want to also get the book that we read every Wednesday night, Hermetica 2. So the first Hermetica and then this. And then Another good book is Hermetic Magic by Stephen Flowers. Even if you're not interested in the magical aspect, this book is broken up into two parts. Part one is the theoretical and foundational part, and part two is the magic. So part one is what you'd be interested in if you only want like the history and the foundational and the theory behind it, the cosmology, the theogony, the theology, all of that good stuff. And then there's, techniques of Greco-Egyptian magic, theurgy and their Hermetic practice, backdoor into Hermetics, the secret history of Hermes Trismegistus, and all that. Those are good ways to get started. Telomerase is the tops of our chromosomes. Oh, okay. I did not know that. Thank you. We don't talk about Bruno. What about Coco? What's that song that Miguel sang? Miguel. Damn, how'd it go? What do I do with my shoe? Mi amor, mi amor. She said, put it on my head, mi amor, or something like that. I don't know. How do you feel about Beverly? You mean Beverly Paschal Randolph? I think I need to do a bit more reading in on their material. I'm not super familiar. Lon Milo Duquette got me to like Crowley. I like Lon. I don't like Crowley. Lon is very approachable, very cool, very down to earth, funny. Doesn't take himself too seriously. The opposite of what Crowley was. If Crowley was alive right now, I promise you, I have no doubt in my mind he'd be the Kanye West of the occult world. He would just be on the internet saying the most wild, random, outlandish things just to get your attention. And then when he has your attention, he's going to promote his new book or his new course or his new. I mean, Crowley made music too, so his new album, or he's going to do something. He's going to get your attention, and then he's going to promote something to make money. He I'm not a fan of Crowley. I like Lon, but I'm not a fan of Crowley. All right, let me try to get because jeez, it's almost 12:30. What's the difference between the Corpus Hermeticum and Hermetica 2? Hermetica 2 is the Stobaean fragments, whereas the corpus is the traditional standard corpus, right? It has the Divine Pymander, it has Asclepius, it has the Virgin of the World, it has the Emerald Tablet, singular, not the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, as you all know. That is not Hermetic at all. But the Hermetica 2 is just the Stobaean fragments. Well, not just, but as you can see here, or here, let me make this a little bigger. There we go. So you can see it says Hermetica 2, the excerpts of Stobaeus, papyrus fragments, and ancient testimonies in an English translation with notes and introductions. So really it's just the Stobaean fragments. The ancient testimonies are from like church fathers who would who you would think would have condemned these beliefs and things like that. But instead, they promoted them in order to further promote Christianity. They tried to use the Hermetic teachings to say, that it was a harbinger of Christianity and Christ. So instead of condemning it like they did everything else, they actually wrote favorably about them. You can read more about that in the Secret Dialogues of Hermes Trismegistus. It goes into how some of the church fathers used to write favorably on Hermeticism. Actually, Daemonology has some stuff by Augustine. Humberto Maggi's Daemonology has some stuff by Augustine of Hippo. So, namaste. Hey, namaste. What led you to this path? That's a long, long story. But essentially, I kind of just stumbled into it. I kind of just found it. I mean, whether you believe that or you believe in fate and all that stuff, I stumbled into it when I was at the mall one day when I was 13. So. Skipped me, bro. No, I read every single comment other than anybody that was talking to each other, Like if you were adding somebody else, I skip that because that's not for me. But remember me. Remember you. What do you mean? That's cool though. Indeed, yes. PB Randolph. Yeah, I'm not. I gotta do some more reading on them. Glad I caught this live. Well, thank you, Trony. Trony, Trony. I don't know. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I'm gonna head to bed. Have a great night. I'll be right behind you, Lady Macbeth. I'll be following right behind you shortly. Not in a stalkery way. I just mean I'm just gonna get off. Not in a weird SCX way. I don't mean get off in that way. I mean get off like the live stream. I heard Crowley became unbalanced, but I never studied his work to confirm that. Well, he's always been unbalanced. He was a drug addict. He liked to you know, I don't know if I can say the word, um, black tar. We'll say that. Black tar. Any advice to fully understand the Corpus Hermeticum? I try reading it but struggle interpreting it. Yeah, you need a commentary. You need to get a commentary. And also, it's not meant to be understood and read, or read and understood, I should say, in one or two sittings. It would take a few readings and contemplation on it, right? So you're not going to just understand what it says. You probably want to sit with it, noodle on it, right? Contemplate on it. But I would also get a commentary. I would go on Amazon and get probably the Copenhagen version that has enough notes and commentary in it that you should be good. Understand. Thank you for explaining the differences. You're welcome. TikTok randomly censors comments sometimes. Yeah, but sometimes people also come in trolling, trying to make it seem like, the host isn't paying attention or something like that. Always good to hear you. Good night. Have a good evening, Manuel. Thank you for being here. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Remember me from Coco Miguel. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't like. I knew Miguel, but I don't remember the name of the song or anything like that. And is it about the shoe? Is it like, where do I put the shoe? Mi amor, mi amor. I said, put it on my head. Mi amor, mi amor. Something like that. I don't know. That's a bet. Have a great night. You too. You too. All right, I reached the end. I did it before 12:30. I reached the end. All right. Well, guys, I think that'll do it for this evening. I think we can call it a night here. We've been live since like 10. So 2.5 hours. But that's fine. That's great. I enjoy it. But I am going to call it for the night. So thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed the live stream on initiation part 2. So both parts will be uploaded to my YouTube. We did part 1 on Tuesday and we finished up part 2 this evening. So hopefully you took notes. I know you guys asked a lot of questions. Appreciate that. It was a great conversation. Engagement was fantastic. Thank you all. Thank you for the 3.6K likes. Truly do appreciate that. That kept us in the algorithm, kept us, getting the word out to people. So thank you. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this movie, the George Foreman movie, and I will. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow, or today, I guess, technically, unless you're in California. If you're on the West Coast, then it's still yesterday. I'm in the future, suckers. I'm ahead of you in time. In time. Do you remember that Justin Timberlake movie, In Time? It sucked. It was garbage can. But I'm ahead of you in time. I went ahead. Far away. You can't catch me. No, I'm kidding. But have a good night. Thank you all for being here. Yes, I am going to enjoy my movie. Blessings to you, Karen. Blessings to you. Namaste. Sunday. I'll probably be live Sunday. Probably live Sunday. That's right. East Coast. East Coast is the West Coast. That's right. The West Coast might be the best coast, but the East Coast is the West Coast. So make that make sense. No, I'm kidding. All right, I'm getting off here for real. All right, I'm really getting off now. So have a good night. It's more in the future in Australia. Oh, so you think you're more future than me? You think that you in Australia are more future than me? I'll show you future. I'll show you the future. I'll show you so much future, you'll wish you were never in the future. Do you understand? Do you get my drift? Do you get my futuristic drift? Good future, son. That's right. Good future. Just kidding. All right, I'm getting off. I got to get off, guys. Okay? I have a movie to watch. Okay? I got to go. I can't stay on here and discuss the future with you. I have to go into the present. Okay? Circle around the past, into the present to get to the future. That's what I got to go do. So before the past becomes the present, that, you know, I'm going to stop and I'm going to go. So thank you all for being here. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, seek the mysteries, probably in the future. Bye.